This week on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, we'll turn to an expert for some advice on how to stay warm this winter. And we'll tell you what you should have with you when you head out in the cold. Plus, it's ice fishing time. Join us on the hard water, and it's only on WNEP. Hello everyone and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs. A frozen Francis Slocum State Park lake, and of course we are in the middle of winter. Cold temperatures, sometimes brutal wind, and you could enjoy it out there in the great outdoors if you're prepared. Dressing properly is very, very important. Now, Franklin Klock from the Carbon County Environmental Education Center joined me in the cabin not too long ago to talk about how to dress appropriately for the weather. So let's face it, winter has certainly come upon us. Cold weather, wind, snow, but no reason not to go out and enjoy yourself if you're prepared. And of course, we're going to call him local expert, Franklin Klock, the Environmental Center at Carbon County. You've seen him before, but we've asked you to come in here and talk to us about how do you prepare to go out and have fun, stay warm, and come home safe from a day out in the middle of the winter.
That's the key. You want to be able to get out there. You don't want to sit in the house all the time and just look out through the window. You know, we encourage people to get outside all the time. The key to staying warm when you're outside is not necessarily find the biggest, thickest, fattest coat you can find. Layers are the key. That's the number one way to stay warm. Start at the bottom, work your way up. Layer, layer, layer. Everything from your feet to your head, layers.
So when you talk about layers, now you have a pair of socks here, and that's a pair of socks inside a pair of socks?
Right.
Let's see that.
So when we layer our feet, first of all, wool is a fantastic insulator. The fluffier, the better. But some people don't like wool against their feet. Some people think it's itchy. The other thing is, as it wicks the moisture away from your feet, sometimes you have some issues. So what you want to do is layer it either with a merino wool sock or a polyester sock. This is called a sock liner.
Okay.
It does two things. It gives you an extra insulating layer, but it also, if you're moving, especially if you're hiking, it gives you the ability to have your socks actually move against each other so you don't get a blister. And it gives you that little bit of slipperiness in there.
Really good plan. Let's talk about our hands. Gloves?
Sure, gloves are great. Again, there's two ways of looking at it. A lot of people think that mittens are better. And they really are, because what they do, a mitten keeps your fingers together. It keeps the heat inside where gloves separate it.
Okay.
And you have airspace. You can kind of make a combination or a consolation, if you will. So you've got mittens,
right,
and you've got gloves. Sometimes you can find the gloves that are full gloves, even with a mitten over the top.
For people that want to text while they're out too.
Right, exactly. Use that phone, use that camera. Exactly, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Now you also want to talk about covering your legs and body.
Sure.
But not doing it like you said. You don't want to be wearing a sleeping bag. You want to be wearing a lot of thin layers.
Right, right.
Show me some of this stuff.
Base layers tend to be thin. We call them base layers because that's what they are. They're on the bottom. Undergarments, that's a personal preference. But when we start to look at insulating, you know, we talked about the old J.E. Morgan long johns, you know, the waffle knit cotton. Stay away from cotton whenever possible.
Because once that gets wet and sweaty, you're done.
You're done, because you can't wick it off. It stays in there, and then you're an ice cube on the inside.
Right, right.
So start off top and bottom with a base layer. This is polyester. Some people do merino wool. The merino wool is great as well, but the cost factor is sometimes prohibitive. So start that way, and then go to a mid. You can do lighter pants. They do sometimes merino wool that'll go over this a little bit looser. One of the things that I say to people that are trying to save a buck is if you've got lounge pants polyester fleece, something like that, those are fantastic under another layer of pants.
A pair of pants. Period.
Sure.
So when we're talking about gloves over here. Besides the real heavy mitten ones,
Right.
layer those as well.
Yep, these are a system. These come like this, but you don't have to buy a system. This is a fleece glove inside a shell that's waterproof, and it also has another little insulating layer on the inside. But you don't have to do that. You can buy a wool glove and have a liner. Again, polyester under wool is one of the perfect ways to do that.
Now wool, everybody always knew, right? From the Woolridge clothing.
Right.
You can't go wrong, but now wool is so soft and cuddly.
Right.
Right?
The merino is great. A lot of people don't like wool. You can find wool hats that have polyester liners on the inside. The thing about polyester fleece is it's a little bit lighter than wool, but it has almost the same insulating power. See, the power of wool is that it keeps you warm even when it's wet. Now, when we talk about technique versus clothes, you want to stay dry. That's the whole thing. If you stay dry, you're going to stay warm.
Okay, so we've got a layered hat
Yep.
look. You also like gaiters or neck gaiters and stuff too.
Yeah, the neck gaiters are great because they're convertible. You can do all kinds of things. This works as a scarf. You can twist it into a hat. You can make it a face guard for it or anything like that. So they work out really, really nice. The old days of the scarf wrapped around your head 4 or 5 times, it's kind of out of the, you don't have to deal with that when you can do something much lighter and it'll keep you warm.
It's really about cutting the wind from going back down
Correct.
behind your neck and stuff
You're
like
going to seal
that.
that system all the way down.
So now we've got layers underneath, we've got socks, we've got gloves, mittens, whatever your choice is, and hats. What's the outer layer looking like?
Then your outer layer, you're going to layer again, do your base and then do a mid, something like an insulating layer, a polyester fleece or a wool. Something that you can adjust. Now, the thing that I like about some of the more modern jackets is they have something called pit zips.
Okay.
And pit zips are great because once you get warm, you don't want to overheat. So with pit zips, you can ventilate. You can open up here and let some air in
Rather
and
than
let some
sweating.
moisture out. Exactly.
Okay.
So you have that ability. And then on top of that, preferably a waterproof, breathable outer layer. This is your first defense against the weather. And again, they've got pit zips too.
Okay. So this is almost like a windbreaker as well, right?
It's not a heavy coat. There's no insulating power to this whatsoever. It does breathe. It lets some moisture through, but it won't let moisture in.
Gotcha.
So this is essentially you're walking with a tent.
Right.
That's how that works.
So
and then
layer,
of course a hood.
And a hood. Layer in everything. And then you handed me this before and you said, this is probably one of the most important things you could take if all else fails.
If all else fails, we teach survival classes sometimes and people say, what's the first thing you would grab before you go out? And it's always a garbage bag. And people think, well, that's really nice because you're going to clean up the trail.
Right.
That's not what this is for at all. A garbage bag is a perfect survival shelter. Now, I don't have this one cut, but what you do is you would measure down and make a little slit, pull it over your head, and it keeps the body heat in. So if you happen to get caught out there and you know you're not going to get home right away, or maybe you didn't bring enough clothes, this is going to be able to keep you warm, and it'll also keep you dry if you get caught in that really bad rainstorm. Those terrible winter rainstorms where it's about 30 degrees but it's pouring rain at the same time.
This is absolutely excellent. Great tips, Franklin. Now, Carbon County Environmental Education Center, you're always looking for members. You're always looking for people to take part of your programs. Best way to get a hold of you?
Best way is online, carboneec.org. Give us a call, 570-645-8597.
Thank you very much for showing up, my friend.
My pleasure.
That was
My
excellent.
pleasure.
Thank you, Franklin. And of course, the key, and he used the term over and over again, layers, layers, layers. So you can enjoy something like ice fishing out here on a frozen lake. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to tell you what you should be carrying with you to be safe. So stick around.